papers in which they describe the result of graphophonemics. But re-educational training is not enough, as a complete recovery is very rare. Very rare, yes, a complete recovery. That means an adult that a compensation is very frequent. These two different words are very important in dyslexia: recovery and compensation. Mostly of dyslexics are compensated. That is, they still have in adulthood a lot of problems in reading. They have to read before, in reading aloud especially. They have to read before. If they have to read in front of an audience, they have to read before. Otherwise, they do a lot of mistakes. They also maintain in adulthood a lot of orthographic errors when they spell out and they write. So, proper instruction promotes reading success and alleviates many difficulties associated with dyslexia. Instruction for individuals with learning differences should be explicit, directly teaches skill for reading, spelling, and writing, systematic and cumulative, as a definite logical sequence of concepts, introduction, and structured step-by-step procedures for introducing, reviewing, and practicing concepts. What happened at school? Excuse me, but at this stage we yes, I don't know why my computer jumped out this figure. In this, I present a recent experience made in Italy, granted by the Ministry of Communication, because this is an experience with the digital TV. Digital TV. I don't know in Korea how is the diffusion of digital TV, but interactive TV, with your remote control, you can, if you hear "a," you can choose one of these, because you have, in this case, the colors of the remote control following to this. And we have a lot of this exercise, and we can do this at school daily, and it costs very low. It's very cheap, because you don't need a speech therapist or a special teacher for each child. So, and we do this also to reach some village in which they don't have speech therapists, for instance. They don't have any special teachers. And family has to bring the child to the remediation office doing 1 hour traveling. I know that in Seoul is normal, but not in Italy. This is an experience that is very nice, and now it's extended to 2 provinces, the area of Modena, because it's an area also I teach at university, Modena, and we will follow from the 1st grade 6,000 children with this system. This is an empower system. It's not only to learning to read to dyslexics at risk, but also to people coming from other countries that now are very, very diffused in Italy. This problem gets to the 15% of the school population in some cities. Dyslexia at school. Dyslexia is not only an intrinsic disability, but it depends also from educational setting. It's also caused by setting. Yes, it is neurobiological in origins, but it's very different if you have a good school setting or a bad school setting. It's like climbing a mountain with a burden on your back. It's very important to give the student tools to succeed in achievement. And it's very important the computer-assisted education that has been introduced very early. How develops dyslexic? Dyslexics develop very slow, and they still have problems of reading slowly in adulthood. We made a long-term study, and this is very important because this perspective can support one of the two major hypotheses on the nature of dyslexia. Is the dyslexia due to a lag developmental hypothesis or a deficit hypothesis? The data, this is the rate at which the normal population in Italy read some single word. The speed is expressed in syllable per second. It's like how many steps you can do in 1 minute. The same is how many syllables you can read in 1 second. At the end of the 8th grade, they can read 5 syllables per second, around 5. But you can see that 30 dyslexic children can read only less than a little more than 2 syllables per second. So they are very, very slow. And the difference is that doesn't change during development.
Ask them, they understand what you're saying. So they say it's okay, you can speak slowly and clearly, and you're doing fine. Go ahead.
Thank you. No, water. Sorry. There are, in adulthood, we distinguish between three different outcomes, like I told you before. We have recovered dyslexic, compensated dyslexic, and persistent dyslexic. And the percentage is 1 or 2 over 10 dyslexics, that is from 10 to 20%, are recovered in adulthood. The 60% are compensated and 20% are persistent. Now, it is always, in the last decades, we have an hypothesis that dyslexia depends also from different type of orthographies. We have, different. different type of dyslexics depending on different orthographies? The answer is maybe yes. And there is now this grain size hypothesis that says that dyslexia anyway stems on neurobiological specific condition, but it is modulated by feature of each orthographic system. That is, if an orthographic system is more transparent, you will have less dyslexia in that country. If the orthographic system is what we call opaque, that is non-transparent, so we will find more dyslexic children. To explain this hypothesis, now I show you the comparison between Italian and English, because Italian is a very transparent system. So if the ambassador told before it's a good language to hear, it is also a very easy language to read. Very easy. You can get Italian through reading if you want. We have, and English is considered one of the most opaque language. Orthography, I mean. I say language, but I mean always orthography, because languages are not different in difficulties. Every language is easy for the mother tongue speaker. We have 26 phonemes and 21 letters. In Italian, we have only 26 phonemes. In English, they have 44 phonemes. That is the reason why I speak English with a strong Italian accent, because I don't have such a lot of phonemes. And they have only 26 letters, so the ratio between grapheme and phoneme is quite close to 1 in Italian, very far from 1 and closer to 0.5 in English. So, another difference, and this is very important, is that in Italian we don't have any homophones. Homophone means words that you write in the same way but you pronounce in different way. For instance, you can see live, I live in Bologna, or I live in Italy. I was to a live concert in Korea. Live. This is bass, is a music instrument. Bass means a kind of fish. This is homophones. They had also in English a lot of sublexical homophones. You pronounce hurt, earth, live. You see, this is homophones. We don't have any homophone in Italian, and the regular system, regular orthographic system, don't have any homophones. In English, homophones are very, very frequent. And they distinguish also between deep homophones and surface homophones. This, for speech therapists, is the most important thing, that a regular system like Italian are based usually on assembled phonology. And I will show you what does it mean. But English is based on addressed phonology, completely different. No, sorry, this is a mistake. The 95% of word reading is the children in Italy can read the 95% of words at their vocabulary level. At the end of the first grade, sorry, there is a mistake. The 38% of words in English at the end of the first grade. This is the way, this is the reason why in Italy we have the 4.7% of prevalence of dyslexia, and in the United States you have the 7.2% of prevalence, much more. Now I explain you what is the meaning of assembled phonology very, very quickly. You know, this is the so-called dual root model made by Max Coulthard. Following the dual root model, we have two ways of reading. I don't know in the ideographic system, but in the alphabetic system we have two ways of reading. One is called phonological root, and this is the phonological root. You have a visual analysis, a conversion between grapheme and phoneme, and you can pronounce the word. If you want, you can also compare your word with your vocabulary, but it is not strictly required. The other system is quite different, you know? This is called direct root or lexical root. You recognize the word as a lexicon stored in your memory. So this is the verbal memory is involved, the visual memory is involved. It's completely different. In Italian, no, sorry. There is a, sorry, PowerPoint. There is some problem, but okay, technology is good to repair fastly. In Italian we can read, this is the assembled phonology, you know? An example. In Italian we can read the word like lucertola. It's a kind of snake. Just assembling. But in English you cannot read in this way. Because if you read this one and after this one, you go wrong. You have to read simultaneously in this way, like jeans, yacht, you see, New York, Wagner, and so on. So it's